Elena Rybakina admitted Eala pushed her way harder than expected. Once you hear what went down on that Rome clay court on May 10th, 2026, you'll see why. She arrived as the world number 2, a 2-time Grand Slam champion, and easily the most dominant server in women's tennis today. Yet, a 20-year-old from the Philippines forced her to dig deeper than anyone expected. Nobody gave Eala a fighting chance. Experts were polite but blunt. Rybakina would win in straight sets within 2 hours, quick and easy with zero drama. But tennis ignores predictions. What happened at the Foro Italico on May 10th, 2026, turned out to be far more complex. It was emotional, intense, and way more important than any final score. Stick around until the end because the real story is not just about the winner. This match revealed the true character of both players and the future of the WTA Tour. To understand why this showdown mattered so much, you have to look at how different their journeys were to reach that same clay court under the hot Roman sun. Elena Rybakina is 26 years old, born in Moscow and representing Kazakhstan. By 2026, she had become one of the most feared athletes on the WTA Tour. She isn't loud or theatrical. She doesn't pump her fist after winners or scream at her coaching box when things go south. Rybakina operates with a quiet, almost eerie efficiency that rattles her opponents before they even step on the court. Her serve is a weapon. Unlike anything else in women's tennis, it is not just raw power. It is incredibly precise, hitting lines that most pro players wouldn't even target when the pressure is on. She won Wimbledon in 2022 and took the Australian Open in 2026, crushing world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka. By the time the Italian Open arrived, she held a staggering 28-6 win-loss record for the season. She already claimed the Australian Open and Stuttgart titles, leading the whole WTA Tour with 29 main draw victories. The 2023 Italian Open already belonged to her. She wasn't returning to Rome just to look back. She came back to build a legacy that is still being written. And then, there was Eala, 20 years old, ranked 37. A lefty from the Philippines who trained at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Spain, carrying an entire nation's hope on her shoulders every single time she stepped on court. Before Rome, the clay season was brutal to her. Early exits in Austria, a first-round loss in Stuttgart, and losing in Madrid. The clay should have helped her aggressive game, but it exposed her flaws instead. But Rome felt different. Something finally shifted. She beat Magdalena Frech in the first round, grinding out a 6-0, 3-6, 6-4 win that proved her brilliance and grit. Next was world number 33 Wang Xinyu, who had already beaten Eala this year. This time around, Eala didn't just win. She dominated 6-4, 6-3, converting 7 of 11 break points. She hit winners from angles that made even seasoned observers stop and take notice. For the first time ever, Eala finally reached the third round of a WTA clay court main draw event. She was playing the best clay tennis of her life, and her next opponent was the defending champion of the tournament. Before the match, Rybakina was asked about Eala's lefty game. Her answer revealed exactly how seriously she viewed this challenge. "We haven't practiced together before," she said. "Since she's a lefty, I'll find a lefty to practice with. I'll definitely talk tactics with my team and fight for every single point." Read that again. The world number 2 with 29 wins was arranging special practice sessions just to prepare for a 20-year-old ranked 37th in the world. That alone was a massive warning sign that this match was going to be something very different. Keep watching because the opening game set the tone for everything. The match was set for Sunday evening at the BNP Paribas Open Arena. From the very first game, it was clear this wouldn't be the easy, clinical win that most experts had predicted. Eala served first, and in that opening service game, she needed 11 points just to hold her serve. 11. Think about that. A normal pro service game lasts 5 or 6 points. 11 points means long rallies, massive pressure, deuces, and a brutal grind. It meant that Rybakina had come out sharp and aggressive, immediately hunting for weaknesses. But it also meant that Eala held her ground under maximum pressure. In the biggest match of her career, she held her opening service game. That was the first sign. The turning point came in Game 3, a brutal 13-point marathon that felt less like a game and more like a condensed version of the entire match. Rybakina navigated that extreme pressure. She finally broke Eala's serve after intense rallies that pushed both players to their absolute physical limits. This break gave Rybakina a 2-1 lead. Most young players facing a champion on a big court would start to fall apart there, but Eala didn't crack. She kept pressing hard. Both players held serve from the 5th game to the 10th. That tells a story. Rybakina's service game was almost completely impenetrable. She fired 4 aces in the first set compared to Eala's single ace. Her first serve percentage stayed consistently high throughout the match. Her second serve had enough kick to stop Eala from attacking. Her ground strokes stayed deep, pinning Eala back and limiting her shot angles. Still, Eala stayed close all the way to 5-4, even saving a set point. A lesser player would have crumbled long before that moment. Eala forced Rybakina to serve out the set. Rybakina won it 6-4 in 51 minutes. The score looks comfortable on paper, but it didn't feel that way. The second set started with an immediate statement from Rybakina within 5 minutes. You could feel the heavy weight of the moment. Down a set, a break in the hole, facing a champion who never blinks. This was when Eala was supposed to mentally check out. Instead, she did the exact opposite. She broke right back. Then she held serve. Suddenly, against all odds, the second set was 2-1 in favor of Alexandra Eala. A 20-year-old from the Philippines, playing her first match against the world number 2, had just snatched the lead in the second set in Rome. The polite crowd suddenly roared to life. But here is the fascinating part. The real question was never if Eala could lead, it was if she could survive what happened next. In elite tennis, there is a terrifying moment when a great champion decides to stop letting the match stay close. You might not see it in the stats yet. It shows in their posture, the sheer weight of their shots, and a total lack of hesitation when making those 50-50 decisions. When Rybakina shifted gears halfway through that second set, you could feel it. Down 2-3, Eala needed a hold to stay alive. In that critical game, Rybakina hunted down 3 break points. She converted one and the lead vanished. Rybakina reclaimed control at 3-2. From that moment on, she played with the quiet, remorseless precision that has made her one of the most consistent players on tour. This turning point was about much more than just raw power. Rybakina was incredibly calculated in how she shut down everything Eala was trying to build. Eala has a left-handed serve with a natural kick that usually gives right-handed returners a nightmare. Rybakina was ready. She specifically found a left-handed practice partner to master those return patterns before the match. It paid off. She adjusted her return and started taking time away from Eala on those wide serves. She turned potential free points into brutal baseline rallies where her depth and power took over. Then came that late second set moment that analysts have been replaying on loop. A missed volley from Eala that could have set up breakpoints and flipped the entire script. She was perfectly positioned to step forward and apply pressure, but the ball clipped the net on her side and fell agonizingly short. Rybakina capitalized immediately, held her serve, and then sealed the match with a thunderous forehand winner into the open court. Final score, 6-4, 6-3. 1 hour and 32 minutes of tennis. On paper, it looks simple, but the stats tell a more complicated story. Rybakina converted 4 of 7 breakpoints. Eala only got 1. Rybakina hammered 6 aces to Eala's 1. Still, in that second set, Eala pushed her career record against top 10 players to 3-4. She has already taken down 3 top-tier opponents. Her resume already includes big wins over Coco Gauff, Madison Keys, Iga Swiatek, and Jasmine Paolini. Rybakina did not become that 5th victim, but the way Eala competed proves that another massive upset is just a matter of time. Before the match, Rybakina admitted she prepared for that lefty serve. Afterward, the consensus across the tour was undeniable. This was much tougher than the final score suggests. One analyst noted the Filipino team never looked intimidated by the big stage. Against a world-class player like Rybakina, that might be the ultimate compliment. So, what did Rybakina actually reveal in her post-match interview? And why has the tennis world been talking about it ever since? Here is where the story takes a turn. During the lead-up, Rybakina was honest about her prep. Admitting she needed a specific lefty sparring partner was a huge tell. Sourcing a specific partner for Eala's game was a major sign of respect. But her post-match reaction is what really resonated with fans everywhere. It hit home with analysts and the global audience that has been tracking Eala's rise with total fascination. Rybakina walked onto the court knowing that left-handed serve would cause serious problems. What she did not expect was the sheer mental toughness Eala brought to the biggest match of her life. Keep in mind, just weeks ago, this player was losing in the opening rounds on clay with almost nothing to suggest a breakthrough was coming. And yet, under the lights in Rome, against the world number 2, Eala played with zero fear. She took the fight to Rybakina. She traded breaks. She led in the second set. She forced Rybakina to earn every single point on that court. The match went 92 minutes. For a massive chunk of that time, it was genuinely a dead heat. Rybakina finding a lefty partner and building a specific game plan with her coaches was the ultimate sign of respect. The world number 2 does not usually walk out with a custom strategy. She usually just relies on her own excellence. The world number 2 does not typically have to reconstruct her entire practice schedule for a player ranked 37th in the world. The fact that she did tells you everything about the reputation Eala has earned, especially considering her history of stunning top 10 players throughout her young career. There is something else to consider here regarding Eala's season. Before Rome, she really struggled on the clay courts of Austria, Stuttgart, and Madrid. The losses were stacking up on a surface she just hasn't mastered. Heading into the Italian Open, Eala's clay court record was looking shaky, but she's the type of athlete who evolves through fire, not through easy wins, but through pure, high-stakes pressure. That Wang Xinyu match where she nailed 7 of 11 break points was the turning point. She took that massive surge of confidence and brought it straight to the court against one of the literal best players on the planet. What Rybakina proved, both in her focused prep and how long she struggled to finish the job, was that the 20-year-old from Manila isn't just a prospect anymore. Eala is a dangerous, legitimate threat. She's now the player that world number 2s have to scout specifically. That puts her in a completely different tier of professional tennis. Moving from rising star to elite contender takes more than just raw talent. It's about pace, mental toughness, and knowing exactly when to strike or when to just dig in. Rybakina still holds the edge for now, but the gap is shrinking fast. Everyone watching in Rome could feel the heat. But the next chapter for these two superstars might be the most critical piece of this entire saga. The 2026 Italian Open delivered a score that looked routine on paper, but inside that 6-4, 6-3 finish was a massive turning point. Elena Rybakina reminded everyone why she remains the most dominant force in the professional women's game right now. Meanwhile, Eala proved why the world number 2 had to build a specific game plan just for her. Together, they battled for 92 minutes of high-stakes tennis that actually mattered not just for their own rankings, but for the very future of the entire sport. This is the sound of a new generation finally kicking down the door to tennis greatness, and we're all lucky enough to witness this shift happening in real time. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on these two incredible athletes, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We cover the women's tour the way it deserves with depth, honesty, and the respect this game has earned. New videos drop every week. Don't miss a single moment of the action.